Shop Air. Welcome everybody. Getting ready to run PEX as my shop air. Watched a few videos myself, looked around. I've got a bunch of this 1/2-inch PEX left over from the in-floor heating project. I ended up buying 3,000 linear feet, 1,000 foot rolls. Got chunk left over here, I don't know, maybe 300 feet, 200 feet, something like that, and a little chunk left over there. I figured, you know what, I'd like to get some drops here throughout the barn. Air compressor's there. I'd like one drop over here next to the metalworking area. Want one drop by the woodworking area, one drop by my auto area, and then one drop all the way in the back by the wash tank and the brake lathe. Then finally, to add one up here next to the power reel. So I didn't have to buy any extra PEX. I did, and I had a bag full of clamps left over. I did order some Milton quick release. I like these ones because you can just stuff the end right in here without using any sort of, it's one hand, or basically one hand. If this is mounted against the wall, you can just push into it without having to pull back the center part here, or the ring. So, got a couple adapters. These ear wall mounts mount against the wall, then my 1/2-inch to 3/8 NPT, and then the actual coupler. So something like that. And I am gonna have to order a couple more of these eared mounts. Ordered a kit off Amazon that come with a bag of 90s, a bag of T's, a bag of butt couplers. Those are from the other project left over, and I ordered these guys separate. And that kit also came with the ear mounts and a bag of 50. I believe it was 50. Anyway, pretty cheap, not too bad. And it also came with some wall clamps, similar to them. And we're gonna start. I've already got one quick run slipped up behind the air dryer, which we can cover in another video, but pieces sitting right up there. I already got a T clamped onto it. I'm gonna tee it off right up here. And that's my next step, is to run the line over to the lathe and mill. Set this up on a tripod and then we can get back to work. Yeah, something like that. And this PEX is kind of a pain in the butt. It's a little bit chilly outside. The barn's not too bad, it's about 55 in here. I still had to go and hand turn, not hand turn, but take some of the bend out of the line just because it's a pain in the butt to deal with. I had made a unspooler for this PEX. This was some plywood and some 2x6s, and I used an old wheel bearing. Put it all together with a few lugs sticking up the top. I could drop the whole spool on it and just pull this right off the spool, but without, I got rid of that. So just a real quick bend to straighten it out a little bit. So if we're going around these corners, in the actual corners, I'm just bending the PEX. I'm putting probably a, I don't know, 10-inch or so arc in there. No problem, it's hidden up in the corners. But for the steep, the sharp angles, like from the wall going to the ceiling, I'm using actual 90-degree fittings. And I forget what it is. It's like, what, 6 times the diameter, or 3 times the diameter? I don't know, you can look it up. Something like that. It can take a pretty good. There's an outlet right here, and I want that line to run just to the right of it. And there's 2 foot on center girts all the way up. Yeah, we're gonna run it. Let's do a hand bend around that hand hoe. I've never seen one of these Malco. Oh, hold on. Yeah, these little Malco nut drivers for your impact. Flip it around, keeps the magnet in place right there. Got 1/4 inch and 5/16. They're proud of it, but it's a handy little dude. That's the gist of it. I'm going to turn it off while I get the rest of these lines run. You guys see how it goes. And see you in a bit. Alright, just made a really dumb mistake. It's nothing critical, but just started rolling along. I got that side finished up over there. Come around. I got that T up there connected, run it over. I had... while I was taking the normal bend out of it, I put a kink in it, so I cut a chunk. Works out perfect. That'll be my T that's gonna come straight up on the ceiling. And I just went ahead and finished up that T while I was at it. And that piece is connected to the entire roll. And I realized initially, oh crap, now I gotta go through and unroll this by hand instead of just unrolling a big chunk of it at a time, cutting it to length. So now that's already there. That's not a huge deal, because you know, it is what it is. But then I realized it's still connected to the roll, and I haven't made it up and over the garage door rail. So I'm actually gonna have to measure it, which I'm just gonna fat finger it. There's enough there to do this entire barn and then some. So I'm just gonna fat finger it, cut it, because one of the drops is gonna be right down over here, kind of halfway down the woodworking bench, kind of by the mini bandsaw there. Probably something right in there where I can have just one of the little curly Q air lines sticking out, and I can blow off the tools as necessary. Kind of a silly mistake, figured I'd share it. And it's back to work. Be back in a bit. All right, just to show how the ceiling side's going. Since the nails in these amazingly cheap clips off of Amazon seem to bend a little bit, I'm pre-drilling the holes in the ceiling, even though I know I could hammer through them. using the clips as a spacer off one of the ribs, getting it lined up with the truss. Use that clip as my offset. Setting the drill bit there. Just enough to poke through. And so far, I'm happy with how it's turning out. It all seems pretty straight, even. All right, getting back to it. I measured out that chunk from the T above the door, around that corner, up and down. I actually just got out the laser measure and ran it real quick and come up with 35, 38 feet, and I added a few feet. Went ahead and cut that, ran it, and then realized when I went to make my turn down that, oh, that's supposed to be a T. So another missed measurement. But this wasn't honestly a really planned out project. I just kind of threw it together. Look at this. Hopefully this is one of the last snow days of the year. Here it is, middle of April. Well, April 9th. Snowing outside. It's not sticking for the most part though. Still got quite a bit of snow on the ground. Randomly actually. Especially in the woods. Anyway. Alright, back to work. I will be back. Alright, we're back. Got all the drops in. Haven't done the end plumbing and the couplers on each one of them, and the ear drop ends or whatever they're called. So we've got the one drop over here. I like where that's at. That'll be good for the lathe and the mill. Run up around the corners. Still haven't plumbed it into the actual compressor yet, but we'll get to that. One up top here, run straight across. There'll be a drop down reel there, 50-foot extension on that. That should reach this. So this is a 40 by 60 barn. So that 50-foot reel that's gonna go up there should easily be able to reach, if I pull something in here to change a tire or whatever, oil changes, that kind of stuff. So, up and around, up there, drop down to here, and as much of a pain in the butt it was, I took the time to route it behind the pegboard there, and eventually I'll probably mount it right on the side of that 2x4. That's where the coupler will probably go. And just have one of the little curly Q air hoses, or maybe a smaller reel of some sort. Teed off up there, comes around, straight down the sidewall. Tees off next to the actual workbench, the big workbench, 16-footer. And I'll probably put the T or the coupler right here. And again, maybe a small air reel, maybe not. I don't know. I've got a ton of hoses. I hate to have to go buy more stuff. I might just buy a hand reel. So I'm getting really tired of doing that mess right there. It's a great hose, but it's such a pain in the butt when it's just flopping all over the place and in the way. I really miss my air reel. So again, tees off up there, comes around, and I was thinking about just running it along next to these shelves, down, over, but again, I think it's overall a cleaner, more efficient method to go behind stuff if you can, and since these shelves are off the wall just slightly, worked out perfect. I was able to snake that line up and around that corner, and then down behind all them shelves. We got the brake lathe right here and the parts tank here, and the wash tank here. I'm thinking just right over here on the wall, right in here somewheres. That'll be a great place right in between the two. And yeah, so that's where we stand. I am going to call it quits for the day. Got company coming over. Probably took about 2 hours, and before I wrap this up, I'll show you all the parts and tools that I used. This little bugger right here ended up being really handy. So this one is a Ivis, I don't know, whatever they pronounce it, but again, Amazon special. And it came with a pack of crimps as well, but actually I think I used all the crimps that came with that for the actual in-floor heat. But yeah, I'll get a whole list set up and the tools required. And if you haven't seen them, these Milwaukee cutters are absolutely amazing. Replaceable blade in them, and it just zips right through this PEX. I think it can take up to 1-inch PEX. I've used it on 3/4 PVC as well. Fantastic. Love them. All right, that's it for today. So, trying to figure out how I'm going to put this reel on the ceiling. Above that steel is a layer of visqueen, plastic sheeting, whatever you want to call it, and then the trusses. And I was thinking, I don't really want to fab up an entire metal bracket or anything. It's definitely got to be strong enough to not fall down on me. I was thinking maybe just a 2x6, would fit that base perfectly, and just throw some lag bolts in there, maybe some 1/4-inch lags, but I don't necessarily trust the 2x6 to not split on me unless I make it really long, which I don't really want to do. So I started digging around, and I keep all my old cutoffs, and I found up on my rack here, found one of my cutoff LVLs, the laminated veneer lumber, I think is what it stands for, but it's this. Basically, instead of headers, you can use these to support the trusses. And I know this is just like extra heavy duty plywood. This won't split, so I cut a piece off to the width of the ribbing up there. That's about 7 inches apart between the ribs. So cut this to 7 inches. It fits up there great. I'm just going to pre-drill 2 holes for some GRK 1/4-inch lag bolts that'll go into the truss, and then the actual reel can just bolt right to this, and then I won't have to worry about it actually splitting or coming apart, and that should be more than strong enough. And I should be able to get a solid 1.5-inch screw in here. I think these are actually like 1.75 inches, something like that. Let's see. A little over 1.75 inches. Dang, light. Yeah, so what is that, 1 11/16 inches? Or no, more than that. Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, I like this one, or 13/16, sorry. I like this idea. I think it's going to work. There's a little bit of a bow or crown in this. I'm going to put the crown down so that the lag bolts pull it tight against the ceiling. And there we go. That should do it. I'll do a little bit of back and forth here while I get these things screwed down. These are the 4-inch GRKs, and I think these probably 1.5 inches, maybe 2-inch. 5/16 lag bolts ought to be more than strong enough to hold that thing down, or up rather. Might need some flat washers. If it's close enough. Yeah, we'll throw some washers on just to make sure. tightening it down. I don't know what the heck just happened, but it decided to crack on me. Can't believe that LVL is cracking. He's doing it on both sides. Right there, right where those two GRKs went in. Nuts. Alright, well. So much for this take. I'll try it again. Alright, new one's up. I did the exact same thing. Did the exact same thing. I used the old one and just laid it right on top of the first, or on top of the new one. Pre-drilled all the same holes, same bits and everything. I did go a slight fractional up just to make sure that I didn't have the splitting issue, but you can see right here, right where the two main lags, GRKs, went through, had some splitting in here. Same thing on the end. I'm not sure if it was just because it was a wetter piece, because this piece was outside for last winter. And it's still kind of damp even to the touch. Went and grabbed this piece that was up on a shelf inside. First piece that I cut off had some to the right dimensions. The inside looked great. Focus. The edge of it had all these cracks going through there, so I cut a new piece. And yeah, no cracks whatsoever. So, stuff is supposed to be really, really, really strong. I don't know why. Kind of makes me wonder if my actual headers that are holding up this roof in here. There's, I want to say the one on the inside, one on the outside of the posts on that side. And this side's got a lean-to running the entire length. So it's got the 12-inch inside outside. That side's like a 10.5 or 11, and that side's a 11.5 or 12, something like that. Two of them, which it ended up being cheaper than buying 5 2x12s that go on that side. Anyway, so that guy's up. Now I'm just waiting on them drop ear outlets, which, what are they called? These guys, yeah, drop ear elbows. I got another pack of these coming from Amazon. It's supposed to be here anytime. And I can finish the last two drops. One's gonna be right there for the reel to plug into, and the other one is gonna be right down here. And I haven't decided for sure yet, but I think I'm gonna mount it right up in here somewhere. That way I can put a reel in here. Either way, we'll see. Got the other outlets in. Jeez. Our other drops are in. And this guy here, and they all worked out really, really nice. Nice and solid on the walls. Let's see if I can get this plugged in. Get some light. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So really solid mounts. It's just 3 screws. I made sure that they went through the sheeting, OSB, into the studs, or grks, and yeah, everything, I like it. I like it a lot. That one for woodworking. This one's just in the OSB because the stud is behind, the stud's right up here behind the pegboard, so I put it down here in the OSB, and it's still really solid. One over in that far corner, not corner, but by the lathe and mill. A little above my height, or right around 6 foot. And I'm just gonna put a little curly Q on that one, be able to blow these guys off. Oh, the pups made it out. And then did this guy the other day off camera. Added in an extra regulator air filter. Used a 3/8 hose going down to my drop for the PEX that feeds the PEX. That way, focus. That way, if I ever need to use a 3/8 high volume line for anything, should be a piece of cake. Just unravel this hose here, take it right outside the door, like for sandblasting, whatever. Yep, that's where we stand. I'll bring you back when I get the other parts. Okay, finally got the pack in the mail. I live out in the middle of nowhere, so it takes me a while. Two-day Amazon deliveries don't usually work here, but so we'll go through this process. We're going to be doing 2 last drops, so we'll go ahead and prep 2 of these. I did all the other drops off camera, so I'll go ahead and do these 2 on camera. Anytime you're doing this Teflon tape, wrap it in a manner so that as you're tightening it, the piece you leave off, when it breaks off, goes with the direction. So righty-tighty. So I'm going to wrap it this direction. That way, I put 4, 5, 6 wraps on. So that little piece that's hanging off now, as you spin it in, won't undo itself as you're inserting it, or threading it. Oops, wrong side. Oh yeah. I forgot I need 2 of these guys as well. And same thing for your adapter. I hold just a little piece on the outside. That way it stays in place while I start threading. I don't think I'm going to have it out. I'm going to have to go get another roll. Same thing where the piece that's hanging off wraps as you spin it tightly, or tightening direction. We'll grab another roll. Okay, same thing. Oop. I want a little more than that. That's probably good. Again, righty-tighty. And our last one. I try not to leave any through the bore. Not that it would really matter. Okay, thread this guy here. This guy here. Same thing. I'll head over to device. I already got this set up from doing the other ones. It would be more appropriate to have the exact size wrench, but I'm using a crescent wrench. And for those He-Man folk out there, these are mostly brass fittings. It doesn't need to be that tight. That's what the Teflon tape is for. One's done, tightened up, ready to go. I wonder if is that a good view? Yeah, it's close. Now the last one. Two of them. Look good. I like it. All right. So the second to last drop is up here. Let's see. Yep, it's going to be right next to the reel. Rig tools. Alright. That's where it goes there for me. So as long as my whip can make it over here. Yep. Okay. No, Okay, last drop. I already got our coupler set up. I'm thinking eventually I'd like a small reel right here, maybe like a 25 footer, just enough to reach up and down the workbench and if I'm working on something out here. So if I install this here, the reel might be in the way. So for now, this is a good spot. And I'm going to tuck a bunch of this line back behind the, yeah, like that, behind my toolbox there. That way if I need to make it longer later, say I want to hang the reel right here, I can mount this down here and have the width of the reel. So I think that'll work good there. It's just a matter of making sure I got the extra line if and when I'm going to need it. Yeah, that'll work there. Okay, I like that. We already got a good square cut on there. Okay. Put a new card in it. Let's get this going. All right, so added the Sharp old school regulator. Put a 1/2 inch T in here instead of the 1/4 inch T that I had on here from before. So a 1/2 inch ball valve, nipple, T, then 1/2 inch flex copper all the way up to the new filter regulator. And then one side is just a regular coupler. The other side is a 3/8 coupler with a 3/8 hose. I don't know, maybe a 20 footer. Anyway, that comes down around to the PEX that feeds the entire shop now. Up along the ceiling, which we've already gone over all that. Then I also have my old regulator that was on here before that I've still been using. So we're gonna go ahead, give it a shot. Still got a little leak in one of these seals, top or bottom, I'm not sure which. Just barely hear it. Anyway, let's see what happens. Something's leaking. Aha. Okay. That whip. And this is, I've had this reel for years and years and years. Okay, seems to be working. Alright, let's bump up the pressure to full shop air. I can hear all the lines in the background creaking and cracking. Okay, up to 110. This camera sucks. I can't wait to get a different camera. Focus. Sort of see it. Anyway, 110 psi is what we're sitting at. I can definitely hear the leak in that seal. Let's check all these outlets here. Nothing leaking there. One. Two. Yeah, nothing leaking there. Three. This one seems good. Four. That one's good. Seems like, without climbing up there, seems like my T's are all working good. Got one there, one up there. With 110 psi, if it was leaking, I'm pretty sure I'd hear it. T there, and then that fitting. So let's actually plug something into it. Let's just try this side first. I like it. That's a 100-foot hose, so there's a little pressure behind it. Let's grab a smaller line. Drag it around to a couple of these. I still got this whole pile and another pile of that leftover stuff. Here's a smaller hose. I'll be dang. This guy's leaking a little bit. That's a really old, nasty, rotten hose, but heck yeah. We have shop air. Fan-frickin-tastic. Let's see if this hose reel doesn't fall off the ceiling on us. It's gonna be so nice. Now I know why all these guys do this stuff one-handed. Not quite strong enough. Yeah, it worked. Heck yeah. All right. That little bulge there. I don't know if you can see that in the line. Right there by my thumb. Oh well, it's not leaking, it's not blown out yet. I'm kind of curious if I can put a longer line on that. Got a fresh, I don't know, Home Depot Husky brand yellow, but it's a nice soft rubber one. I might put that on there sometime. All right. Might be a little janky, but hey, got shop air for next to nothing. I think I spent less than $75, so I bought 8 of these Milton high flow guys, V style, which are supposedly interchangeable with every other style. Bought a second pack of these along with the kit, which I used I don't think I used any of the 90s. Came with, I think, 4 T's, a pack full of butt connectors, 90s. What else? Oh, I had to order a pack of these. Actually, I had to order 2 packs because the first pack came and it had that little guy. Like, what the hell? That's some awesome QA right there. So it was a 5-pack. And one of these fellas is not like the other. And the kit also came with that bag of clamps and a pretty big bag of wall clips, which are in my tool bag somewhere, but yeah, similar to these, not quite the same. They're a little more janky. These are a little more stout, but these are more brittle. These are the ones I got from Home Depot, whatever they're called. But these, I smacked one of these with a hammer because I wanted to use a little bit stronger ones on the 90-degree bends in the corners, especially that far corner up there, and whacked the plastic with a hammer and the whole thing just shattered. But the other ones, you know, they work. You gotta be careful with them. But for, I think it was just over 50 bucks, got the whole pack of those, plus these were, I don't know, 5 or 6 bucks a piece, so maybe 100 bucks total. And granted, I had the tubing already on hand, but honestly, you can get a 100-foot roll of this stuff for pretty cheap. I already had the regulator on hand, but I could have just used my old regulator. Most of the other fittings and tubing and all that I had on hand. And obviously you could rig up whatever you needed. The air hose is something I had laying around. Same thing with the copper tubing. Valves, got valves galore. So depending on what you're willing to spend, you know, did not cost all that much. And to have 5 additional drops, including, you know, the reel on the ceiling, that's not a bad deal. But the reel I had from a long time ago. All right, well, that's it for this video.